After my recent videos, I spent a lot of time reading your comments. I really expected most people to talk about getting older and looking older. Instead, hundreds of you told me about the unexpected turns your lives have taken. Some of you talked about chronic illnesses. Some of you talked about becoming caregivers. Some of you talked about injuries, depression, accidents, autoimmune diseases, or simply realizing that your body can no longer do what it used to do. But what struck me weren't the different circumstances, it's that so many of you were saying the same thing. I just can't keep up anymore. I know what needs to be done, but I just can't do it. I feel like I'm letting everyone down. I look fine on the outside, and nobody knows how hard this is. I recognized every one of those feelings because I live them too. Over the last few years, I've learned something. I don't think that the limited energy is the problem. It's what we think about the limited energy. It's the story we tell ourselves because of it, that we're lazy, that we're failing, that we're letting everyone down, that everyone else is living a better life than we are. I've decided that I don't think that's true. One of the most important things I've learned is that having a sink full of dirty dishes does not make you a bad person. I want to say that again. Having a sink full of dirty dishes does not make you a bad person. Over the years, I've made several videos about cleaning when you're exhausted, pacing yourself, and learning to work with your body instead of fighting it. After reading your comments, I've realized that the important sections of those videos belong together, and so I've done that. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. Not because they've made me a perfect homemaker. I am anything but that. But because they've helped me stop measuring my worth by what I can get done in a day and have helped me start treating myself kindly. So let's get started. I read a really good thought this week that says, when you only have 10% and you give 10%, you've really given 100%. But we often feel like we're just not doing enough, that we are letting ourselves and our family down because we know what our 100%, our true 100% is. And we can see there's such a difference between 10% and 100%. There's 90% missing, if you can just think about it that way. Well, under this condition, 10% is really good. So she points out that being messy is not a moral failing. You are not a good or bad person, depending on the state of where you are with your chores. Having a sink full of dishes does not make you a bad person. It's not related to a moral activity. Vacuuming my carpet does not make me good. Not vacuuming my carpet does not make me bad. And yet we go through life sometimes assigning that morality, good and bad, to things that really are not good or bad. And you can see how that messes you up. He talks about having a lower and upper range of expectations. So let's say it's really valuable to write a book. Instead of thinking, well, I'm going to write 3 pages every day, that's can be a lot. Then you try to keep that up every day, and then if you can't, then you miss a day, and then you think, well, do I need to make this up, or what do I need to do about this? Instead, he says, do a reasonable lower limit, like I'm going to write 5 sentences. That's my minimum. Every day I'm going to write 5 sentences, but I'm going to do no more than X amount. And that top limit should be less than wears you out. Because if you get worn out, you're not likely to want to do it the next day. When faced with so many tasks and obligations that you can't figure out which to tackle first, stop. Take a breath, get present in the moment, and ask yourself, what is most important this very second? Not what's most important tomorrow or even an hour from now. If you're not sure, make a list of everything vying for your attention right at that moment and cross off anything that's not important right now, and then only do what's essential. I challenge you to look around in your life and think if there's anything that you have or that you're doing or you think you need to do that is just there because it's always been there, or you've already sunk so many time and money into it that you feel like you just have to keep going. Stop and say to yourself, what will it feel like if I can just let this go? If it feels really, really good, let it go. You can't do everything in this life. At the time she was dealing with the postnatal depression and dealing with having a newborn and a toddler, she said, I was tired, I was depressed, I was overwhelmed, I was in need of help, but I was not lazy, and neither are you. And so she goes on to say that she is convinced more than ever that laziness does not exist. She doesn't think it's a real thing. This is important. We are not talking about the biblical definition of laziness, which is when you are able to do things, but you choose not to. We are talking about really wanting to do things, but being unable to do them. But she said these are the things that exist: executive dysfunction, procrastination, feeling overwhelmed, perfectionism, trauma, amotivation, chronic pain, energy fatigue, depression, lack of skills, lack of support, and differing priorities. Then she says ADHD, autism, depression, traumatic brain injury, and bipolar and anxiety disorders are just some of the conditions that affect executive functions, making planning, time management, working memory, and organization more difficult, and tasks with multiple steps intimidating or boring. Then she points out so many of the things we do around the home actually require a lot of steps, like even cooking a meal. You've had to go to the store and shop and plan what you want to buy. You have to put it away. You have to have probably cleaned your kitchen and dishes enough that you have clean pots to cook with. You have to decide what you're going to cook, and then there are all the steps to it and getting yourself motivated. There's a lot of things that go into making a meal. We tend to downplay all of that and call ourselves lazy or stupid or just really get mean with ourselves because we're not keeping up with that the way we think we should. She explained this: when I viewed getting my life together as a way for trying to atone for the sin of falling apart, I stayed stuck in a shame-fueled cycle of performance, perfectionism, and failure. She invites us to remember these words: slow, quiet, gentle. You are already worthy of love and belonging. This is not a journey of worthlessness. This is a journey of care. Then she moves on to relabeling what we're doing. Instead of calling these things that we do around the home or maybe in life in general chores, which so many of us associate with negative connotations because we were made to do chores as children, so chores can seem difficult or get in the way of us doing fun things. We call them care tasks because when we are making our bed or doing our dishes or cleaning the bathroom or going to work and earning money for our family, we are doing things to care for ourselves and for our family. And thinking about them just makes more of a positive spin on it. Instead of like trying to talk yourself into doing a chore, which will be, I've got to go right now. A chore that I need to do is to use my little spot cleaners, clean up all the spots of drips of food that are going up my stairs that really are making them look bad. And I've been kind of trying to beat myself into doing that because it is a lot of work. But instead, if I reframe that and I think this would be such a kindness to me if I did this, because then every time I go up the stairs, I'm not having to look at it or think about it. My stairs just exist. Or instead of thinking, I have to go clean the kitchen, I have to go wipe off those counters, I have to do the dishes. Well, if I do it right now, honestly, it's just going to take me a few minutes. So I'm doing myself a big favor if I do it right now. One of the problems we have with motivation is that we think that if we get enough motivation, we can control the situation, we can control ourselves, and we can pretty much force our way into having things turn out the way we want them to. But the problem is that sometimes there are things that happen to us that are not within our ability to control them. For instance, I do have chronic illnesses, and I cannot will them away. I can't force them away. I can't motivate them away. Maybe we'll have some kind of problem that happens in the family, and it's something that I didn't personally do, and I can't control that. And it doesn't matter how much motivation I try to work up inside of myself, I can't make that go away. So instead, what I can do is focus on what I can control. If I'm having a bad day, I can work on taking care of my physical needs, my emotional needs, my spiritual needs, and just start working through this basic list of self-care tasks that I've set up for myself, and then I just will start working on them or skip around. Just by reading that list, it's reminding me, you need to eat lunch. You need to drink water. It's really better for you if you can get dressed, acknowledging that sometimes I'm too ill to do that and it's just a pajama day. But whenever I can, it always kind of motivates me or makes me feel hopeful when I can get to that point where I get dressed, when I can make my bed. And so instead of focusing on the things that I can't do on that day, focus on the things that I can do, and then feel grateful for everything that I still can do. I need to do something I usually forget. If you find yourself relating to this, you might want to subscribe. Okay, let's get back to it. So we've talked quite a bit about the mindset, about giving yourself permission to just let good enough be enough. And I hope some of that landed with you. I really do. But here's the thing. There are days, and I think you know exactly the days I'm talking about, where even believing all of that isn't enough. Your body just won't cooperate. The tasks are sitting there, hanging over you, and you are just stuck. I've been in that place more times than I can count. In fact, I'm in that place right now as I record this video. But I have found a couple of things that really help me break out of it or help me get through it. Some of them are so simple, and some of them really surprised me. So let me just show you what I mean. My cognitive therapist's name was John Linford. He quickly recognized that I am an overdoer. I do too much, and that I had a really difficult time knowing how to slow myself down so I could recover. So he taught me this method called Killer Dots. You have named it Killer Dots. Color Dots. He never gave me a name. I need a name. Okay, the first thing John did was he gave me just a printed calendar. What we are going to do is 4 or 5 times a day you're going to stop and you're going to say, how do I feel? And you're going to judge it by these 4 colors. Green means that you are feeling good. This is a really good time to do things. This is the ideal state. Maybe you're not perfect, but you're feeling good and you feel like you can do things. Yellow means you're starting to get tired. Maybe your brain's tired, your body's tired, emotionally you're tired, whatever it is. You feel that fatigue coming on that we often ignore, that we feel like we just have to push through, right? If I just push on and I'll get through that, then it'll be okay and I can rest later. That is yellow. Whenever you feel yourself going into that, even if you feel like you can push forward, you need to stop. Stop, take a break. It might not be even a long break. It might be, I'm going to go walk around outside. So anything I could find that didn't make my brain work. So I didn't watch TV. I didn't scroll the phone. And like now, if I feel myself in yellow, I know I need to just go sit down and do something really relaxing for a little bit. If I get it soon enough, then I don't even have to wait that long before I can go back. In green, I can carry on. But if you're in yellow and you push through, you can get yourself into red. Red means stop. You're not feeling well, you're feeling exhausted, you may feel like it's hard to be around other people, you'll feel impatient with people, you might snap at other people, things will come along and people want you to do something and you're like, I can't do it, I just can't do one more thing. You're just in a really kind of a frantic state. If you are there, you must Pay attention to that, because if you don't, you can get in the purple, and purple is really bad news. You are really, really sick. You may even get really depressed. Some people will get suicidal in this state. It is really bad news. I was lucky I never got depressed like that when I had long COVID, but I take some medication for my fibromyalgia that helps me not to get depressed to that state. But purple was bad. When you're in purple, you might not be able to shower, to get yourself food to eat. When I spent so much time in purple during one awful 6-week period of time that John actually recommended that we get a refrigerator up here in my bedroom with healthy foods, because I couldn't make it downstairs to get something to eat. For a long period of time, I bounced back and forth between red and purple, sometimes up in the yellow, very rarely, but it did happen in the green. But I mostly was in here, and it was a really bad time. And I hadn't learned how not to get down in here. So this is what you'll do. So yesterday, this day, the 12th, I started out and I was green. I was doing good. I was checking in and I was green. It was good. I was checking with myself. It was green. And then I got down to, okay, I really want to finish mopping this floor. I had a couple other things I just really wanted to get done because somebody was coming to the house. But I got down in yellow and I didn't stop, and I kept pushing through it, and I got down in yellow, and I was just in yellow. I never got out of yellow the rest of the day. So yesterday I woke up and I got all ready and I was going to do my thing, and I actually went downstairs and I was going to do some things in the kitchen, and then it occurred to me, no, you are in the yellow, Roseanne. You cannot. And I had something I needed to do around 5 o'clock, and I knew it was going to take an hour and a half, and it was really important. And I knew if I did anything, if I did any of the work around the house I wanted to do, if I recorded this video, which is what I wanted to do, I wouldn't be able to make that thing. And I really wanted to decorate my shelves for the 4th of July, but I couldn't do it. So I came upstairs, and I went back and forth. I read a little bit of a novel, I looked out the window, I tried to take a nap, and I just kept myself resting and resting and resting. And then by the time it was time to go, I was in the green, and I stayed in the green the rest of the day. Do the essential things and don't do the non-essential things. Am I in this wrong mindset of doing those things? And to recognize this really is temporary. How I'm feeling right now is temporary. I can help myself along, so this period is shorter. There are a lot of things that interfere with us having a clean home. And we don't consider that a home is never perfectly clean unless you can hire an army of people that can follow you around and clean everything you touch all the time. Because in order for a bathroom to be perfectly clean, every single time a person enters that bathroom, someone would have to come behind them and clean it. Laundry is never going to be done. People are wearing clothes, they're making laundry, so laundry is never done. If we think, I want to have my home clean, and we create this impossibly high standard for ourselves, we are always going to feel like we fail. Well, I've had to really reevaluate and change my mind about so many things. And I did back off of some of my standards, but they were way, way, way too high. In my mind, I was still punishing myself because my house couldn't be as clean as I wanted it to be. I really had to change my mind about what I'm doing. Most important installment to this subject. Tidy means you don't have a lot of stuff stacked around. So things are in the garbage, things are put away. There are drop-off spots for people who need to put their own things away. So that's one thing I have figured out. Tidy is where it's all at. You can have a clean home, meaning all the floors are sparkling, the bathroom's sparkling, you don't have any marks on the walls or dirt around the dirt jams, or you have this clean sink, completely organized refrigerator. All of that can be clean, but if it's not tidy, your house is still going to look dirty. But the magic of that is if you have a tidy house, you are faking a clean house. Okay, so we're going to assume that your home is tidy. If it's not tidy, work on that first. Once it's tidy, then you have to deal with the cleaning, because the cleaning is something that has to be done. Then I would say when it comes to cleaning, I have different stages depending on how I feel. If I'm really sick, I'm not doing anything but just sitting in my chair and taking care of myself, willing myself to get a little bit better. So we'll just call that stage 1. We're going to call the next stage 2. That's when I am well enough, I'm able to take showers, I'm able to get dressed, I'm able to put my blankets away on my chair. We're not cleaning, we're not washing the sheets at this stage. We might be tossing our blankets up there so it looks tidy. And I might be like when I'm in the bathroom, I might be like getting a cloth and quickly wiping off the mess on the counter and putting things away. So it's like bare minimum tidying, keeping things so that they are safe. But I wouldn't say that I'm doing any cleaning in that state. So level 3 is when I'd actually start to do some cleaning. And that would be where I'm going to go down, I'm going to do my morning chores. Like at a healthy, bearable level, I'm not deep cleaning at this point. I'm not dusting. I'm not vacuuming. I will be doing laundry because it's really important not to get really behind in laundry. There's nothing more discouraging. If you don't get too far behind, it's really kind of a low effort thing. Now, when I get at level 4, now I'm feeling better and I can actually do some cleaning. This is when I'll do things like I'm going to now vacuum the carpets. I will do the dusting. I will tackle that rug that's under the dining room table where the dog hangs out. It's when I'm at that state that I will wipe out the refrigerator and put everything back in there. Actually, in the level 3 is when I'll open the refrigerator and I'll put things back where they belong, because that's what is the most common problem with my refrigerator, is that people haven't put them back in the right bins. So I'm able to do that when I'm not up to cleaning the refrigerator. So I'll look in there, but when I get at the level 4, that's when I would actually take things out and wipe refrigerator out. That's when I'll clean the microwave. And so when I finally got to like my I'm feeling really good state, which does happen, we'll call it level 5. Oh, level 5. We love level 5. I finally got there and I got those ovens really cleaned out. Took me a couple of days and I'm like, I can't ever let this happen again. If you're too sick to clean, consider asking someone to help or pay for help so your home can be returned to its normal state faster. You can take it up from there. But here's the good news. It's as easy to dust up 1 month's worth of dust as it is 1 week's worth of dust or 1 day's worth of dust. It's the same effort, and this is true for many chores. The most important thing that has happened to me is the mental shift, is to realize I don't have to have this clean house to be a worthwhile person. Oh, I didn't think that before, let's be honest. I don't have to have a clean house to be doing well. I do need to have a tidy house to keep myself from not feeling upset and depressed about my house. So tidy is really important. Clean is great. But if it's not all clean all the time, I am not upset and depressed about it. We can't compare each other because every one of us have different situations. And I have had to learn not to compare myself now with what I was able to do when I was younger. And the biggest challenge was to really to get to, okay, this is my reality, and how can I adjust what I'm doing to have the very best outcome that's reasonable for me, and then to be happy with that. I have found that if there's a spot where like my husband was always leaving his keys, then I put a bowl there so he could put his keys in the bowl and then it doesn't look messy. There's a spot on the bar where he was always piling things up and it was just bothering me, and I tried to put it away and he kept putting them back. And finally I said, I'm not going to fight him on that anymore. I got this basket, which was big enough. Now all the stuff that he tended to leave in the area, it's in the basket, and he knows it's in the basket, and he's better about putting it in the basket. But guess what? If I come along and he's been leaving stuff, I'll just put it in the basket, really quick and easy, and then it looks clean. And I have a chair at the top of the stairs, or if I find any of my daughter's things or my granddaughter's things, I'll put it on the chair and my daughter knows to take it downstairs, and then I'm not having to expend my energy. Over here on my desk I have a pile of things that need to go downstairs. Instead of worrying about, oh, here's this thing and I'm going to take it downstairs, which uses a lot of energy, I'll put them there, and then when I can I'll take them downstairs. Sometimes if things really need to go downstairs, I'll take them out and put them on the top of the banister, which then is a signal to my husband that, okay, Roseanne needs to help with this, and he'll take them downstairs. If you keep a basket, and don't worry about it being unsightly, because when you're feeling well, you might not need that basket, but you're going for being able to take care of yourself, keep things as clean and healthy as possible, and not get down on yourself. I would say those are our 3 goals. Have a basic routine that helps you keep it tidy. I'm not talking about cleaning, your cleaning routine, but I'm talking about your tidying routine. And morning chores for me are really important because dishes do have to be done. So what I have trained the family to do, because they just don't do the dishes, when they cook, their goal is to not let me be able to tell that they've been in the kitchen, except maybe I'll see some dishes at the sink. I go in the morning, I empty the dishwasher. If there are any dishes in the sink, I'll put them in the dishwasher. And I'll tell you what, even though the dishes will be completely done when I go to bed, there are always dishes in the sink because we have some late night cookers. But as long as they're not leaving a mess all over and they've gotten it to the sink, and it's even better if they have sprayed things down, then I'm okay with that. So I go down, I get the dishes straightened out. If there's anything that won't fit in the dishwasher, I'll hand wash them and put them away, because I really like to have the joy of having an empty sink at least once in the day. I will wipe down the countertop. I will wipe off the stove. If I keep up with that, it doesn't take me long, maybe a couple of minutes. I will see if there are any really obvious spills that have gone down the cabinets. I'll wipe those up, and then I will broom up the crumbs. I'm not talking about cleaning the floor. I'm getting up the crumbs. I'll do that down the hall as well, because I really hate walking on crumbs. And even if you're trying to be a clean cook, you'll end up with crumbs on the floor. So I will bring those up. I used to just let them collect. This is something that I have recently got better at. I let them collect because in my mind it was just too much effort. But I was trying to use the vacuum. It is actually less effort, less physical effort to quickly use a broom. If I didn't say this before, I'm going to say it now. Clean as you cook. And my mother really drilled that into me. I really tried to drill that into my husband and my children. They're not as good at it as I am, but they do clean up their mess when they're finished cooking. You get creative. Every day should start at 0. Every day is a new day. You will decide what is the most essential thing for me to do today. You're not going to carry over your list from before. It's what am I going to do today? And it may be what is the most essential for me to do right now in this hour. So 0-based planning. That's really important because you're going to have to be able to prioritize and to recognize you can't do everything in order for the colored dots to work. Another thing that Greg teaches is to build in a buffer. And that is to recognize that everything you do is going to take about 50% longer than you think it will. And I say at least 50% more energy, because we so often underestimate how much effort it is going to take for us to do that thing. That certainly is my problem and was my problem before. Another thing is that you got to start small. Don't try to do too big a thing all at once. I'm going to explain how that used to get me in really, really big trouble, that I tried to do that. Making things better means subtracting something. You have to make decisions. Just plain and simple, you have to make decisions. So the big message from that is you have to be able to reduce your to-do list. It's really important to note the organization is not the same as tidying. So organization means that you have assigned a place for things to go. Tidying means that you are putting those things in the place they have to go. Whether things are messy or tidy is totally dependent on how long it has taken you to put them where they belong. Then organization has nothing to do with being aesthetically pleasing. Just think for yourself. If you think that you have to have things aesthetically pleasing, everything in little containers and all lined up and color coded and everything, or it's not organized, if you released that, how would it change your mind about organizing? If you know this thing goes in that drawer and I put it in there and I'm not going to worry about what it looks like in that drawer. The refrigerator is really gross. Steam the laminate, vacuum, put the entry rug back. Oh, I need to clean the half bath. I'm gonna go to the dollar store, change up my bedding. I'm just ready for that, and that will feel really good to do that. Really need to dust. Oh, I need to do my cognitive exercises. Is there anything else? Let's start out down here by doing something easy. I'm gonna do some dusting. What I ought to do before I do the vacuuming, because chances are that's going to make me feel pretty tired, is clean this bathroom, because it's really easy and it's fast, and then I can mark that off my list. When things get out of control is when I am sick and I can't keep up with these kind of basic things. I mean, the floors will get pretty grody and everything. Grody. Like this bathroom will get pretty grody, because I don't use it much, and so I don't notice it much. But I've just had to learn to live with that. And then when I feel good, I keep it up more. And then when I don't feel good, then I don't keep it up. But I know that that will end. I've had enough experience of this to know that will end, and I'll have periods of feeling better, and then I can clean it. And so it's kind of like this up and down thing. My best bet in tact is to not get all down on myself and depressed about it, but just to feel grateful. I have realized that I really need to embrace realistic expectations.
Yes, there it goes. There it goes.
If I'm having a bad day, I have to embrace realistic expectations for myself. That means that some days are going to be better than others. We're watching me on a day that was a good day. Those days are just so wonderful, and I look forward to them, but they don't always happen. So I have to just really acknowledge, what is my energy level on any particular day? How does that affect me, and not compare my abilities now with what they were before, and just not pressure myself to do everything that I used to do. Instead, I should break down my large task into smaller, manageable steps, and then anything I'm able to do is worth a celebration. And when I celebrate even small things, then that boosts my motivation and my confidence. Before I go, I wanted to talk to you about a little change that's happening on the channel. For quite a while now, I've been trying to post a new video every Friday. But over the past few months, I've noticed that the videos that I'm most proud of, the videos that connect with you most, take time for me to really think them through. So beginning now, I'm posting every other Friday, but I'll still be around. I will post on the community tab, different surveys, pictures from my life, what's going on, thoughts that I have. So I hope you'll check that so that we can stay connected. Thank you for being the kind of community that values thoughtful conversations over simply having more videos. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.